As you like it, in 5 minutes. There were once two brothers, Duke Senior and Duke Frederick. Duke Senior was in charge until his power-hungry younger brother, Duke Frederick, usurped his throne and banished him to the forest of Arden. Rosalind, Duke Senior's daughter, was allowed to stay because Duke Frederick's daughter, Celia, was best friends with Rosalind. Next we have Oliver and Orlando. Oliver is the eldest son of Sir Rowland des Bois, while Orlando is the youngest son. They also have a third brother, Jacques, who was away at school. Oliver hated Orlando's guts because his life was loveless and sad, while Orlando attracted women and was happy. Oliver made it his job to make Orlando's life miserable by doing things such as denying him an education and treating him like a child. After a usual fight between Oliver and Orlando, a very talented wrestler, Charles, stops by, and Oliver convinces him to fight Orlando. He wants Charles to publicly humiliate him in front of Duke Frederick. Oliver's plan backfires because Orlando defeats Charles in the fight. After the fight, Orlando meets Rosalind and immediately falls in love with her. After the fight, Adam, a servant of the Dubois family, tells Orlando that Oliver is planning to kill him. Orlando, fearing for his life, takes Adam and leaves to the forest of Arden, where he believes he will be safe from the wrath of his brother. Later, Duke Frederick becomes paranoid and believes that Rosalind is plotting against him, and so he banishes her. Rosalind goes and tells her best friend Celia. Celia, who can't live without Rosalind, offers up a plan to run away with her. Because it is dangerous for women to travel alone, Rosalind decides to dress as a man. Rosalind takes on the persona of a man named Ganymede. Celia takes on the identity of a sister of Ganymede, named Elima. They also take Touchstone, a clown, with them into the forest. After the disappearance of Rosalind and Celia, Duke Frederick suspected that Orlando, who also disappeared around the same time, kidnapped his daughter Celia. He employs the help of Oliver to bring back his daughter safely, and Orlando, dead or alive. So Oliver heads out to the forest of Arden in search of his brother who he plans to kill. Eventually Adam becomes very tired because he is old, and Orlando runs out of food, forcing Orlando to have to go search for it. Orlando finds a small settlement and tries to steal food from it when he runs into Duke Senior, one of his father's best friends. Duke Senior gives Adam and Orlando food and shelter because he knew Orlando's father. Rosalind and Celia find some people in the country named Sylvis and Phoebe and befriend them. They also offered them a place to stay in the country. Sylvis loved the girl Phoebe, but Phoebe didn't love him back. Things get even more complicated when Phoebe falls in love with Ganymede, who is actually Rosalind in disguise. It is also important to note that there are two very similar characters in the play, both named Jacques. One is a lord traveling with Duke Senior, and the other is the middle brother of Orlando and Oliver. They both really never show up at the same time until the end of the play when they talk to each other, which makes them very hard to tell apart at times. While in the forest, Celia spots Orlando and tells Rosalind. Rosalind, who was still disguised as Ganymede, thought she would use this to her advantage to teach him how to love. So Rosalind began to give her true love lessons on how to love her, while Orlando had no idea this was happening. Rosalind, dressed as Ganymede, wanted Orlando to pretend that she was actually Rosalind so she gave him advice. So Rosalind was dressed as a man, pretending to be a woman, when she was actually a woman who was dressed as a man. Yes, this was confusing, but it was made this way on purpose. While in the forest one day, Orlando sees a sleeping man, and when he gets closer, he sees that it is his eldest brother, Oliver. Despite their hateful past, Oliver saves Orlando, who is attacked by a lion. Oliver then renounces all his hate towards his brother and does not kill him as he initially planned. Orlando is also greatly injured in the fight with the lion and requires medical attention. At this point in the play, everyone meets each other and starts falling in love at first sight. Touchstone the clown meets a country girl named Audrey, and they decide to get married. Also, Oliver meets Celia, and they decide to get married. Next, Rosalind agrees to marry Phoebe, who still thinks she is a man, and says if I don't marry you, then you must marry Sylvis. Strangely enough, Phoebe agrees to this and ends up marrying Sylvis when Rosalind tells everyone that she is actually a woman and not a man. The final marriage is between the two original lovers, Orlando and Rosalind. Haman, the god of marriage, descends down and marries everyone. Everyone is very shocked to learn that Rosalind is actually Ganymede and has pretended to be a man this entire time. Sylvis and Phoebe, Rosalind and Orlando, Audrey and Touchstone, all live happily ever after. Especially when the epilogue comes and we find out that Duke Frederick finds religion and becomes a monk and steps down as the ruler, leaving Duke Senior to once again be in charge, and everyone leaves Arden to go be happy and married in the castle.